And a lovely good afternoon. Welcome into Ruff's Golf Club in Horsham, Pennsylvania. Bob Long, Tom Trainer here. Excited to bring you the penultimate group of an annual tradition, the Ruff's Annual Golf Classic. This has been in play since 2009, and we've only known two champions, Kyle Martin and Greg Goodreds from way back in 2010. Kyle Martin's won every other title in the meantime, and now we have some intrigue, Tom. We have two groups to go. We've made the cut. And it's Dan Gallagher, Kevin Long, Mike Krouse in the opening group here of the folks that have been cut. We also have Zach Bullock, who is a newcomer to the Ruff's Annual Golf Classic. He's done 2 rounds, so he's going to play his 3rd while these folks play their 4th. And in all likelihood, Zach Bullock, who went 8 under through the first 2 rounds, will find his way into the final group where Bob Long, myself, leads 19 under par, Kyle Martin at 10 under par. So this is really going to get interesting. That final group's going to be something else. But we have a lot to play for here in this flight as well.
Really exciting, beautiful day, and what an appetizer we have here for the championship final. This is the first year we're covering the tournament final group. It's a close race. It'll be really exciting. Excited to see how the tournament players, shine or not in the spotlight. It'll be fun.
So now we are going to ask our cameraman Kevin Boswick, thanks for the service here today, to take us to the first tee. And we're ready for the first hole as Kevin Long, Dan Gallagher, Mike Krouse, and Zach Bullock will tee off. Dan Gallagher, as well as Mike Krouse, Tom, are in the tournament flight. So this tournament flighted 3 ways: championship flight, tournament flight, and sportsmanship flight. We crowned our sportsman Joe DeFurio earlier today as Bullock's first shot goes into the rough area. This first hole is a 51-yard hole. The tee box is on a downslope. Really puts the onus on the golfer to get that weight on the front foot, the contact solidly, and, of course, pitch it without going too far. Tom, as we know, there's lots of danger deep behind these 2 holes.
That's right. You definitely don't want to miss it long generally. However, on the shots from the first hole location, the first tee box and the 10th tee box, and then also the shots that we'll see later on in 9 and 18, when you're behind the batting cage, it's not so bad from those tee boxes. Really tough holes to at least get it past the batting cage, and even if you're dropping from back behind the green, you're hitting your 3rd from just off the green. So it's not so bad. You want to at least get there.
Krouse sitting at 2 over par for the championship. He hits a grounder, and that won't get past the rough either. So about 3/4 of the way from this tee box to the green, the grounds crew here let this grass grow very long, Tom. And so anything that's on the ground or skipping along a lot of times gets tied up in this rough that's 3-4 inches high.
Yeah, and there was a lot of chatter this week about the golf course playing tough, as we see a great shot in from Gallagher.
And we'll zoom in on that one as Gallagher's shot goes to the right-hand side of the green, and we are underway. Dan Gallagher at +6 for the championship, 4 strokes back of Mike Krouse. Gallagher went +1, +1, +4 in his first 3 rounds, 4 strokes back of Krouse, who went +4 and then 1 under, 1 under. Here's Long's pitch. This one's got to slow down. This has picked up a lot of pace, and he goes off the back side of the green. You see behind a lot of trouble with the stakes marked all around. If you make your way into the stakes and choose not to play your ball, of course, you take a stroke penalty, but Long, a nice job to keep that on the surface.
And that's the big difference between today's rounds and yesterday's. You saw right there, the pace of the greens.
This one's got to sit as well. Hits hole high and then just skips through that dirt into the trash can area. That is a waste area behind the hazard stakes and will be a challenge for Krouse. Now here's Bullock with his second. Again, something completely different to play for Bullock. A nice shot will get him hole high, about 6 feet from the pin.
Great touch out of that rough. And as I was saying, there was a lot of chatter, and the differences between today and yesterday, the course playing quite difficult this year. We're typically seeing guys like the Long brothers and Kyle Martin, our multiple-time champion, in -20s, 30s, 40s even. And this year, Bob Long sitting in first place at -19. A lot of that had to do with the weather. It was slow. Guys, the greens are today just finally quickening up, and you know what you're going to get today. You know it's going to be fast. Whereas yesterday, in the rain, in the mist, I should say, the greens were slow, but then sometimes it would skim across, and you didn't really know what you were going to get. Tough conditions. And also there's been some chatter from the players about the length of the fairways here at Ruff's Golf Course this year. They felt it was a bit longer, found their ball in a lot of divots, and but the course playing, it's been a test this year, but I think the players have really enjoyed it.
It's a championship test. It is certainly more difficult this year than it has been in the past. Krouse onto the green. I think he dropped that ball, Tom, so that's his fourth, if we're counting correctly. Gallagher with his third from the backside of the green gets it about halfway there.
And also the scores have been a little bit higher or closer to par, over or closer to par this year due to some of the changes in some of the holes. As we can see the players right now, behind where Bullock is standing to his right, there used to be a shed there. And they used to play the 9th and the 18th around that shed or through the shed, but it was a scoring opportunity, especially on the 18th. And this year they've changed the holes, and Bob, maybe you can speak a little bit more about that in a few minutes.
Certainly, as Kevin taps in for his bogey. Now Bullock, a birdie attempt. He's gone with the 56-degree wedge the entire weekend from the green. That one just a touch short. And Bullock is in for par. He remains at 8 under par for the championship. Here is Gallagher. His par attempt on the way and comes up just to the right of the pin. It's a good run from Gallagher, and Gallagher's shown his way around the course. Usually a second-half guy. In years past, he's found himself over par to begin the championship and has worked his way into red numbers. Looking to finish strong here, and Mike Krouse taps in for what we have as a double bogey. So we have him going from +2 to +4. And Dan Gallagher, his bogey putt takes him from +6 to +7. We will now go to the second hole. It is a par 4, 42 yards away. And we'll take a look at the second hole now. As we mentioned, 42 yards away. And right along the tree line. There is danger on the right-hand side, as you can see. Trees on the left. There's a direct line to the pin, however.
That's right, a seemingly straightforward shot, but gets a lot of players in trouble. Also, if you don't carry the ball far enough and land it just short of the green, there are times where the ball can kick to the right towards the creek. And even if you have hit it straight, sometimes you'll catch a bad bounce if you don't get it all the way past the trees in the air.
Here's Gallagher with his first shot, hits a tree and comes right down in front of us, right at the leaderboard. Gallagher, an opening bogey, takes him to +7. Here is Bullock. He is still even par after holding serve on the first. He's going to keep this one low. That's a great shot. Going to roll all the way up. Will he get the benefit of the kick? Well, he certainly doesn't need it as he finds himself 7 feet away from the pin.
And that's exactly how you want to play this hole. You land it just past the trees, a nice little liner, and that released really nicely up to the green.
Here is Krouse. He puts a little bit more pace on this one, checks up nicely, but won't catch the brick. We've seen a few of those, Tom, catch the end of the brick at the edge of the shed. That one will be near or in the hazard.
There haven't been nearly as many bank shots this year on many of the holes. You typically see players in year past use the shed as a backboard to their advantage.
That one's got to hit something. Hits pin high and bounds into the hazard from Kevin Long that time. He will have trouble finding that one. Tom, you mentioned before guys will almost play it not into the woods, but not being afraid of it because you can take that drop. However, there is a creek that's not visible from our camera. It's not that far away, and it's a downslope behind those markers. If it finds its way onto the bank or in the river there, that's out of bounds. Out of bounds on the course means you have to take stroke and distance and play a shot back from the original spot you hit it after your stroke penalty. Gallagher, this is going to look really good. Up near the pin and runs by.
And we have seen a fair share of those this year, those OBs into the creek back in the woods this year. Not as many as we will see on the back nine over the fence to the left of the back nine hole location. Also another out of bounds spot, danger area on the course, but not as many of those this year. Have seen quite a few into the creek.
Live standing, Zach Bullock on the second hole. He has a great look at eagle. He's 8 under par, 11 strokes back now of the leader Bob Long, and 2 strokes back of Kyle Martin. Martin went 1 under, then a 9 under, still the best round on the golf course this weekend, and then carded an even par in the morning action today. Krouse, great shot from out behind the woods. That one almost in. And I don't think, from the way that they were reacting down there, do not think that there was a drop of any kind. Now Long. This one I will assume, Tom, is a drop. I don't know if that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, they were taking quite a while back there looking for a ball.
And that one, wherever it was coming from, did not get nearly close enough to the hole. So we believe Long taking his 4th on the par 4 second. On the way, it'll go just left of the pin. We'll leave him a short bogey attempt, and now they clear the way for Zach Bullock with that 56-degree wedge. He'll attempt his eagle putt. It's on the way and rims out. They have found that the cups are certainly a little bit more stingy this year than it has been in the past, and it certainly makes it all the more difficult to explain some of the lower scores that you see this year, or higher scores, lower to par.
Especially today, this front 9 hole location right around the cup has the ball's been really flying by. And hard for the players to catch a bit of the cup at times. And there you see it do the exact opposite.
Wow,
Stop
Bullock.
just short.
No, I think he may have just gotten
over.
it by.
So that is exactly what I'm talking about. That happened several times towards the end of the round. Just played.
I got Dan Gallagher tapping in his par. Mike Krouse tapping in his birdie.
Yeah, and the round just played by Boswick, by Gallagher, Trainer, and co. Saw a number of putts scoot over on the front 9 hole location. We'll see if that continues to be a factor.
And now they will move on to the par 3 third. This really a tremendous hole here. One of the originals here at the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. A tee box right over a creek, and there's the hole. Simple enough, right, Tom? But certainly has given folks problems in the past.
That's right. I mean, if you try to be too cute with it, there are times where guys, mishit it or, don't get the ball airborne, and that creek, the lip, I should say, on the other side of that creek is unkind. Also, we have seen in the past players, this is a bank shot hole where you see guys really try to just make sure they get it over the creek, and we'll hit it all the way to the shed and hope to get a friendly bounce back. But there are times where guys have hit it off the shed or off a brick, unfortunately, and bounced back into the creek. So not as easy as it looks.
We keep mentioning the storylines here. Mike Krouse set the tee off. He sits live at 3 over par for the championship, 4 shots ahead of Dan Gallagher. Here's a good-looking shot and wonderful backspin that time from Krouse. Either that or he just hit an upslope on the green. That's one that it's tough to tell, but nonetheless, he's going to be really happy with that one.
Yeah, you don't see a ball check like that very often on the rough greens.
Here is Bullock. You get the sense that he wants at least the 1 stroke back on the second. He's going to play the bank intentionally, and it doesn't catch exactly what he thought it was going to.
That's a safe play, Bob. That's a safe play. Ensure that you're going to get it over the creek, and that he's looking at, what is that, about an 8-foot putt from there. It's a safe play.
Now here's Gallagher. There is a deadened piece of wood. There's bricks at the very, very base. Those come off those hard. And then the real body of the shed. It'll come off there hard. There's a little bit of a dead piece of wood, and Gallagher hits the same thing, but he gets the base of the bricks down there, and a great shot puts him 3.5 feet away. Here's Long trying to get it to release, and it will. It's a great shot there. That puts him 4 feet away. And all 4 competitors will have birdie putts here on this par 3 third in the penultimate group of the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. We do want to give, Tom, a big shout-out to Joe DeFurio, who won the sportsmanship flight. Unfortunately, we could not bring you the final round of that flight here on BLS, but a big shout-out to Joe DeFurio and a large improvement from round to round, plus 23, plus 19, and then plus 11 in round number 3. DeFurio, your 2018 sportsmanship flight champion.
That's right, and also a big shout-out to Olivia Ost. She was the first female competitor we've had at the Ruffs Golf Classic. Not this year. This is, her 3rd or 4th year, at least, competing. But shot a plus, was it plus 5? I believe, in her final round today. Heck of a showing for her, giving Joe DeFurio a run for his money. But congrats to Joe on the Sportsmanship Flight Championship.
Krouse blows one by. That after Zach Bullock deadened it at the hole, and it finally did drop. He's at 1 under par for this grouping and 9 under par for the championship. Kevin Long in for a birdie as well. He is now back at plus 8. Gallagher, he is in as well. So Krouse now already given away 1 stroke to Gallagher. This attempt will not drop. And he taps in for 4. Mike Krouse back to plus 4. Dan Gallagher improves to plus 6 for the championship. And back to even par for this round of golf.
Yeah, and I think after a few jitters on the first 2 holes, I think we're now starting to see the boys play golf, play well, what we expected out of the penultimate group. Should be exciting remaining 15 holes.
Look at Kevin Long and Zach Bullock, and now we will take you to the par for 4th.
I've heard players say that this is the truest tee box on the course. I believe Kevin Boswick was overheard saying that the other day, and it might be. It's a nice flat surface, straight shot. Players tend to play a pretty standard 40-yard pitch shot, but again, not so easy. We do see players go long, and these greens are fast, as you've mentioned.
Gallagher will tee off first. A high fly ball. That'll find its way down towards the pin and comes up a few feet short. Great shot from Gallagher. He'll have a look at eagle.
What fast greens? There's another ball checking up. What is this? They're talented players. That's what they are.
Now Bullock will tee off next. That one chunked towards the rough. It'll take a nice kick right. Not his best, but certainly will put him in a good spot to get up and in from there for birdie. Now, for those, Tom, that have not watched the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic, they see the 2 greens down there. You might wonder what that is. 2 physical holes, 9 tee boxes going to each green. That's how you get your 18. And the first 9 going to this green. This ball incoming takes a big hop forward. That'll work out well, just a shade by the pin, and another 5-footer coming up for eagle for Kevin Long. Here's Krouse. That one's lobbed up and will end up around Bullock's ball, about 15 yards short of the front of the putting surface.
And we see Gallagher and Long now sitting at plus 8 and plus 6, with Krouse dropping back to plus 4, starting to put some pressure on Krouse. This early on in this round, both Long and Gallagher seem to be dialed in early.
Of course, we highlight the Krouse versus Gallagher because that's the tournament flight. Kevin Long was placed in the championship flight as Bullock has trouble with that. Here's Bullock with his third just off the front of the green. Will it release? Probably not as much as he wanted there, Tom, but it certainly will have a reasonable look at par. Krouse, the one that went long, correct, Tom? Yes, as he makes his way to the ball. Technically not on the putting surface. Back on that dirted area, it'll actually come a little bit hot, Tom, off that back area.
It will scoot out of there for sure. I think that is the most difficult side of any green on the golf course. Well, either of the two greens, I should say, as the back side on the front nine. Good pace there, though, by Krouse. That's well done.
And he'll tap in for his par. And he'll stay at +4 for the championship. Here's Dan Gallagher. A brilliant first shot off the tee as that left for his eagle. This to tie Krouse. It won't go down. So Dan Gallagher continues to chip away. A birdie gets him to +5 for the championship. 1 under for the round. Mike Krouse sitting at 2 over for the round. 4 over for the championship. Long's putt will go. And that is an eagle, too, for Kevin Long. Bullock, big par putt here. Does not want to give this stroke away. And gets it to fall. Well done for Zach Bullock. He is 1 under through the first 4 holes. And they will move to the par 4 fifth. Tom, a very, we'll say, difficult hole here, especially on the front, playing to this particular tee box. And we take a look now. Back behind the neighboring house here at the Ruffs Annual Golf Club, a shot will take you through the trees. And if you look hard through that tree area, you will see the pin. So you can take, Tom, a very aggressive line and try to put it through the middle of those trees, take a beeline to the hole, or you can certainly play around it and perhaps take the more prudent approach that will give you about a 15, 20-yard shot in.
Or you could take the famed Andrew Stout approach and attempt to go over the trees. We have yet to see a player attempt that shot yet this year. We'll see as it comes down in the final stages if any players who need to score try to go over the trees. But yes, the typical play has been through the trees, just which side of the trees, how aggressive of a line are you going to take.
And there's a great first shot, comes screaming through off the shed and comes to rest 6 feet directly in front of the hole. Looks like Gallagher next to play. His shot catches a couple of branches. This could be really good, and it is. Funneling to the back portion of the green. Dan Gallagher, another Eagle 2 attempt upcoming. Here's Bullock. Bullock's shot comes through. Will that release? Yes, it will. It'll be just a bit short of the green. A good shot from Zach Bullock.
3 good shots down there.
Now Mike Krouse. So that was Kevin Long, by the way.
Right, coming off the eagle, it was his box. That's right.
That was a great first shot. Here's the other one coming through. That's Mike Krouse. He will also be in a good spot.
4 quality shots.
Well, we now take a look at our competitors taking the walk down the 4th or the 5th hole now, the par 4 fifth.
That's a rare group where you haven't had a ball either hit a tree or go into the woods. From that hole location. So well done by those guys.
Now all 4 competitors will move to their golf ball. Zach Bullock still chasing Bob Long and Kyle Martin at 19 under and 10 under respectively. Remember, this is Zach Bullock's 3rd round of the championship. He will play in the final group coming up directly after this. Krouse, a good-looking chip there. He'll send that hole high and have that opportunity for birdie.
Have we mentioned that this is Bullock's inaugural outing at Roughs? First time in the tournament. Playing very well. He
is, and he'll give himself a good birdie opportunity there. Really about as good of a first-time performance that we've seen since Kyle Martin at the 2009 inaugural Roughs Annual Golf Classic. Here's Long straight on for eagle. From the front of the green, it lips out. Gave it a good run. Sometimes these greens have that tiny bit, Tom, of right to left tilt. Now Gallagher. Put a lot of pace on it. It's a good thing the hole was there, but he will have an easy tap in for his birdie. And Dan Gallagher continues to put pressure on Krouse. Now 2 under through 5 holes. Bullock for his birdie. Will drop it in there. And he has matched Kyle Martin at 10 under par for the championship. 2 under through 5 holes. Krouse in there as well with his birdie. And now Long looking to make it 4 birdies here on the par for 5th. And you don't see a lot of that, but the 5th hole has relented here at Roughs Annual Golf Club. The tremendous run of scores from these 4 competitors. And now Dan Gallagher still 1 stroke back, Tom.
That 5th hole has to be one of the lower handicap holes on the golf course. But very well played. As you said, relented that go-round. All smiles walking back up to the 6th tee.
And a par 4 6th, 43 yards. The big thing on this one, a huge side hill that you're teeing off directly from. Of course, the rough directly in front of you and playing again to that right pin location. And a live look at the tee. Here's Long.
Okay, cool. Alex, that'll be on him.
Long's first shot. This has got to hit something. Hits hard into the hazard and perhaps
in the
worse.
Wrong direction.
Yeah, that's one of those soft hits a brick. Not soft.
But I think he'll be able to drop still and just hit his 3rd. It'll be a tough 3rd shot, though, from that location behind the flag.
He'll need to identify his golf ball in order to do that. Here's Bullock. This one looks really good here. Bounces and comes to rest on the right-hand side of the green. He'll have 8 feet left. Gallagher on the tee, trailing Krouse by 1 in the tournament flight. Gallagher, a high one. This will have to come down softly. And that softly rolls into the hazard. Takes the downslope, though. Might be hittable. May not need to take a drop. But, again, we won't know until they get down there.
Well, and Gallagher will have a tough decision coming up. But you saw there, you cannot land the ball beyond the flagstick on this hole. It will not hold.
Here's Krouse from the side hill. So what do you got there, Tom? Was that his 2nd shot or his 1st? Took a cut.
I don't know.
I think don't know.
Is that a rule where you'd ask the players that he's playing with?
I suppose we're going to need
I believe the honor system. Yeah, I believe it's up to the players you're playing with at Roughs. There are no rules officials per se.
We're going to get an update at the end of this hole to figure out exactly what this score will be.
They're not keeping.
A card though, right? Oh, you need to be keeping score. Are you serious? Absolutely. We don't know what you got. We're doing our best, but like we don't know if you dropped back there. We don't know what happened.
Did you drop back there?
Yeah.
Kevin, did you drop back there?
Here, take this card. Quickly. Okay, then we should be good.
That was the only thing we had a question.
All right, now we take you live to Dan Gallagher back behind the shed. Looks like he's identified his golf ball, Tom.
He's gonna play it.
All right. Cannot improve the lie, cannot touch or ground the club, and that's a really nice look there. That'll come just off the green.
Ran through. So, Bob, would you rather have that third shot from the rough off the front edge of the green, or would you rather have dropped and had the third shot from the back?
Boy, that's a great point. I think that if he were given these two scenarios now, which of course you can't do, I would take the one from behind the green. You said that's the toughest portion of either of these greens. I prefer
it's
being
fast.
back
There are roots back there. It's quite bumpy. It's
Yeah.
more unpredictable, I should say.
Yeah, I happen to prefer being back there personally. Oh, my goodness. A duck hook left-hand turn on the hop.
Was he an English major?
I tell you what. That's wonderful execution. And perhaps
I could have sworn
a little bit of fortune.
Could have sworn he was business.
Krouse with, we're not sure whether that's his third or his fourth. Or whether he's lying 3 or lying 4. Now Gallagher, good attempt there. That'll give him what would be a pretty good par, Tom, all things considered.
Definitely.
Now Bullock. That's his birdie attempt, no? And leaves it just a little short. He will tap in for his par. He remains at 10 under par for the championship. Gallagher gets the par to go down as well. Kevin Long leaves his putt short. That
around the world and down.
That was his first shot that got to the front of the green, right? I believe so. Krouse puts that in. So again.
So both Long and Gallagher elected to play the ball as it lied.
Oh, that's right. Yep. So that was a par for Kevin. That's right. He went into the hazard as well. Both decided to play it.
It worked out for both.
It did. Bullock remains at 10 under par. So the 5th hole relented. The 6th hole, traditionally played easier and marked as the number 12 on the handicap scale, did not. Mike Krouse, again, had the one duff at the tee box, then another one short, then a third one deep that he got relief from, putted his 4th, and then finished his 5th.
Well, it is tough that tee box on the side of the hill, for one, and then also it's not very matted down. The grass there is pretty lengthy, so all that to say, you don't know how the ball is going to come out necessarily from that lie and that stance all the time. So as you saw, Gallagher and Long both flying the green, and then Krouse. And Krouse and Bullock, struggling hitting under the ball. So, but you're right. Typically, one of the easier or not as difficult holes on the golf course, but showing its teeth there.
So now you see the 4 players. They were counting on this broadcast to keep score for them, which, as you can imagine, where we simply
have they participated in a golf tournament before?
I tell you what, this is rookie hour, and besides Zach Bullock, that's unacceptable. So now we're going to take a look at the next hole as we see them continue to write their scores. The next will be the par for 7th. The 7th hole, a very difficult one, number 2 on the handicap scale, 38 yards, but look at that. It is just extremely difficult to get through those tees and through those trees, and from those tee boxes, it's just extremely, extremely difficult to find your way to the hole. It's a lot closer to the trees, so there may be opportunity if you can get it through to get it close, but that is a very, very difficult chore. So as we move to the 7th hole, we bring on special guest Seamus Morgan, after which the Seamus Morgan Sportsmanship Award is named. Seamus, welcome to the telecast. Great to have you, my friend.
Oh, I thank you. It is a pleasure to be on.
So it's one of the things that makes Roughs unique. What is the Sportsmanship Award? Why is it so important, and how did you come up with it?
Oh, well, the Sportsmanship Award kind of started back in, the first year of the Roughs. I kind of tried to think of somebody with good character, really showed sportsmanship, and I thought who better, than Seamus Morgan. As the founder and someone, through the years of high school running who showed great sportsmanship. Tried to look towards people now to see who really shows it on and off the course. Obviously, this year's winner, Tom Trainer, doing a great job. And Bob, yourself, a two-time winner. And right now we got a whole gang here looking around. Are we still talking? What do we do?
Just about any specific sportsmanship award winners of the years that have stood out as a true character, either here or not here this year, this tournament.
Yeah, I really would have to call out Bob Long for the Sportsmanship Award. He does lead with the most sportsmanship awards. He just really shows leadership, sportsmanship. I mean, just the fact that he runs a whole tournament in his backyard, the Roughs Golf Club, and allows us all to partake in this great tournament, and accommodating and very encouraging on the course, off the course, giving great tips. I would say that's what has helped him really, collect in the trophy case. And, obviously this year, it was a new winner to you yourself, Tom, running up as an underdog, so congratulations there.
Thank you. And you said Bob Long. We can't say enough about what a gentleman and a scholar as well, MBA from Villanova University. Smart guy like Bob Long, and tremendous host here in Horsham and at Roughs Golf Club in Horsham, Pennsylvania. The players have, so we still do have Kevin Long in the booth checking scores. Looks like they are all squared to go now. Bullock has hit, and I believe Krouse has also hit. Now Gallagher is about to take his tee shot on the 7th back in the woods. As you saw on the whole flyby before we came back to the booth for the score check, as you see Gallagher, another well-played shot. Tight confines here on this tee shot, Bob, through the trees. A lot of wood knocked on tee shots as the years have gone by.
Yeah, sometimes you got to watch yourself standing in this very spot. Good shot that time from Kevin's. Got to slow down and does. Well done. That actually takes a bounce off some of the clubs down near the green and slows it up just enough. Bullock finds himself in the trees here. He's at 11 under par for the championship. So we came back and have a few changes to the scores. Again, we mentioned when these guys are back behind the green, it's very difficult to figure out whether they're actually dropping the ball or if they're playing it out of the hazard. So up to date, Zach Bullock at 11 under par, Kevin Long at +6, Dan Gallagher at 3 over par for the championship, and Mike Krouse at 1 over par for the championship. That's a good look from Bullock. It'll come up just shy of the green, but we'll give him an opportunity to go up and in for par. Krouse is over near the trees. Pops it up. Good looking shot there. Gets him to the front of the green. He will be shooting his third. Kevin Long and Dan Gallagher up near the green. Set to take their second. And a good look there from Krouse. Well, I'm sorry, that was Bullock with that one, and Krouse just doesn't get enough of it. So now he'll have a tough par putt upcoming. Bullock tapping in for his par. Will do so and remains at 11 under par for the championship, 1 stroke ahead of Kyle Martin, who is in the clubhouse after 3 rounds of golf. Here's Long to take his second. This is an eagle attempt from the back of the green. Blows that one through and will not have an easy comebacker.
Long just up short.
Well, that one he did go long, but
It did go long to end up a little short.
there you And Krouse missed his.
Do you like to play it safe, or do you try and go over? Personally, I think it's more fun to try and go for the over, but really, if you hit that shed, man, you are in quite the pickle, I gotta say.
So, of course, you see on the right-hand side of your screen, the very edge of the back 9 green. Of course, they're not playing to that. They're playing over the shed or around it, onto the green on the other side, on the right-hand side as you see it, of the blue shed. Of course, the hazard behind can be a deterrent and has found a home for some wayward golf balls so far this weekend. Gallagher always tries to go over, and this time I think he hedged his bets, and it took a left-hand turn as it got to the front of the shed. We'll give him a great look from about 8 feet from the pin for birdie.
What was that, a little over and around the shed there?
Tell you what, I think if that was going right at the shed, it wouldn't have gotten over. It was fortunate that it was right at the shed, Seamus.
Yeah, nice little roll there, too. Put him in a great spot.
Bullock electing to go around. That one will settle on the front side of the green. We'll give him a good look as well. He and Dan Gallagher in a good spot. This hole, Seamus, a tough hole to birdie, but is the number 18th rated course from a handicap perspective. The reason is there's not that much of a difference. The true way to do the handicap system is to evaluate what a low handicapper and a high handicapper shoot markedly different scores on any given hole. And the holes where that's the case the most, those are the high handicaps. Those where that's not the case are the lower handicap holes. So par truly irrelevant in the handicap rating system. And this because, again, the difference in the types of players here, a lot of these guys are going to end up right on the front of the green and then make it a short game contest. That's why it's rated as the number 18 hole on the golf course, as Kevin Long puts it to the front of the green as well. And now, Seamus, it becomes a short game contest.
Well, see, I did not know that out of school, and I'm still learning something new.
Here's Krouse with his second, looking to go up and in for par.
Now, you really don't see the step and swing in this group here.
Made famous by Seamus Morgan.
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of just like a natural reaction from playing baseball all those years, you know? Never really. I think that's why the coaches threw me off.
They removed the pin as all four are now on the green. Seamus, you participated this weekend, 3 rounds, and you improved every round, and significantly so. 40 over par, followed by 25, followed by 19, and now you join us here in the broadcast booth. So every day has certainly been a tremendous improvement. I think everybody here was very impressed by your ability to drop 20 strokes from your first round.
Oh, I thank you. And I got to say, for the overall field, though, there really has been a lot of improvements as the days have gone on. I think the weather has just gotten better, and you do see a lot of improvement overall by everyone, especially Joe DeFerrio and Olivia Ost, who finished first and second in the sportsmanship flight. They consistently dropped their scores and turned out to be a great finishing close match.
And now Gallagher for his birdie putt. It won't go down. He is in for par. Here's Krouse for his par putt. That one won't go, and he will drop a stroke as well. Krouse moves to +1 on the day, +3 for the championship, and here's Bullock for his par putt. And that one won't go. He will drop a stroke. Talking to himself as he comes off the green. And he puts that one in for a bogey 4, drops to 10 under par for the championship. Dan Gallagher in there at 2 over par, and now leads Mike Krouse by 1 as they head to the par 4 ninth. This through the batting cage, 41 yards for this hole, a par 4, and really one of the more difficult holes on the golf course.
Oh, is that what those numbers are at the top row, the yards? Oh,
that is, yeah.
Oh, that is good to
So
know.
it's a tough hole. I mean, going through the batting cage. So from personal experience, I'll say that the first 2 rounds, I tried to slap the ball low under the cage, and each time got caught in the rough. And sometimes players, when they try to keep it low, will actually end it in the double layer you see there on the bottom side of the batting cage, and you're not getting through the netting there. So I learned and saw a few other players this technique. We'll see what these guys go with, to hit a higher lofted club and see if you can get through just 1 layer of the netting. It's worked out pretty well for most players from what I've seen, but there is always the risk. Let's see what Gallagher does here.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the best approach here is really not to think and just kind of swing and hope for the best. Especially on a tough hole like this, you know. I say you go for through, because if you do get it through, I mean, they just proved me a little along there. You just got a nice little roll down close to the green.
That's 2 players, and I don't know if they were deliberately trying to play low there, but 2 players playing low and getting caught up in the rough. Or did Gallagher even make it to the rough on his? Maybe even short. So I don't know if that was the intention there, but as you can see, it might be a safe play to go low, but you will leave yourself with a lengthy approach shot, most definitely, and almost assuredly from the rough. And there's the play by Krouse, and that's fine. That's what we were talking about earlier. Unless that is that is fine. He can drop from there. Correct.
He technically should need to identify his golf ball.
Oh, understood. Right. So he will. So he should have to hit it then from the tee box. But that was one of the. I guess so. So not quite one of the instances we were talking about where that would be a good play on a very difficult hole. And there you saw Bullock try to go above. So we had 2 players there go below, and 2 players go through the netting, hitting higher lofted clubs, and none of those shots with very good results. It is just a tough hole.
Here's Dan Gallagher. He has come all the way back. We have him at 4 under par here through the first 8 holes. Really a tremendous outing from Dan Gallagher, and fully in character, as that's got to get down. It's got to get down quick. It'll get right to the edge and is, in fact, in play. But he's done this year after year after year, Tom. Come on strong, has Dan Gallagher.
He does. This year's been a little bit different than others from Dan Gallagher. He shot +1, and then a +4, and that +4 in the third round was actually really impressive. He scrambled a lot. That was actually including an 8, a snowman on, I believe it was par 4. What hole, Bob, is across the creek and over the shed?
Yeah,
on
number
the back
12.
nine, number
Par
12.
4, number 12.
I believe it was a snowman for Dan Gallagher, an 8. So he really scrambled really well in that third round, and that was actually a really impressive +4. But a great player, and as you said, coming on strong at the end, as usual.
You want to talk about impressive? Mike Krouse clearly identified his golf ball back there, and so thereby was able to drop next to the water hazard. So that was his third. Gallagher will also shoot his third. That shot went right by the pin. Good run from Dan Gallagher, and we'll have a decent comebacker. Now here's Bullock with his third from just off the back of the green. Tries to come off the shed. Interesting strategy. Clearly buried in a line, decided that he wanted to throw it off the top of that shed, and was about 1 pane away from being on the other green.
A little bit of a basketball strategy there to use a backboard, some might say.
Here's the third from long. That comes in close, real tight, and just a bit short. So now all 4, by my count, with their par looks on the par 4 ninth. Krouse puts it towards the hole, so close. Almost went down. Long putts his par. He enters the turn at +5 for the championship in his 4th and final round. Bullock for his par. This is a big one here. Can't get it to go. It stays up for Zach Bullock. And he will drop a stroke. He will drop to 9 under par for the championship. He goes out in 33. Gallagher puts his par home, and he continues to churn. Goes out in 30, Dan Gallagher. Kevin Long, he's at +5. He went out in 32. And now we do have to say goodbye to one of our distinguished guests and, of course, our distinguished competitor, Seamus Morgan, who awarded the annual Sportsmanship Award to Tom Trainer, so graciously then donated to Alex Chrostowski, and it's certainly become a team award at this point, and I think it's a real testament to you that it is such a coveted award every year. So we want to thank you for being here, Seamus, and best of luck with everything, and get ready for next year.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Bob. You know, this is always a great weekend to look forward to, and I got to say again, it went beyond expectations. It's always a great time, great atmosphere, great competition, and true sportsmanship all the way around. You can tell the competition is always heated in that category, and this year was no less. But I can't wait for next year. It was great being here. So, you know, I'll have to get preparation for next year, and thanks for having me. I do appreciate it.
You got it, man. We will talk to you soon. Seamus Morgan of the Seamus Morgan Sportsmanship Award.
All right. Live long and prosper.
All right, thanks, Seamus. Thanks for stopping.
So now that we move to the par 4 10th, and I'm gonna head down and just make sure they have the same scores that we do, and you can preview the back 9 for us. Tell us a little bit about that other green and how it makes things more difficult.
Well, the back 9 green, as you see, as we pan towards the green to the left of the shed, hasn't gotten as much sun yet today as the front 9 green, but it is fast. This green actually is not so bad to be behind the hole. However, we have seen plenty of shots. This is where you do see shots go back into that creek and go out of bounds, really penalize players if they launch it into the woods. And but you don't want to be short on this green. It is some thick rough just in front of the green. It's a tough back 9 green for sure. And here's Bullock to play his first. And this is a tough starting hole in the back 9, this 10th hole. Because you are playing, so from the same tee box as from the first hole on the front 9, but you have to play almost directly over the batting cage. So the batting cage, as you can see, carries, I'd say, about 80%, 70-80% of the way to the green from where the players are hitting at the 10th tee box. And you have to carry it directly over the batting cage. As we see now, a big gust of wind coming in. But really tough to get the ball that quickly in the air with touch, downwind from a sloping down ball location in your stance. It's tough already on a downhill slope to get the ball in the air. Tough to do so this quickly, carry it over the batting cage. And as I said, this is a fast green, so getting it over the batting cage and then with touch on the green, this is a tough hole for sure to start off the back 9.
Gallagher went out in 30. He is putting together a good round. Already picked up 7 strokes on Mike Krouse. As Amir Tabrizi up top in the rafters, making his presence known as one of the loyal constituents and the loyal patrons here at Ruffs. And next up will be Kevin Long, who went out in 31.
And you see Amir Tabrizi on the deck of the clubhouse here at Ruffs Golf Course. A great clubhouse at Ruffs Golf Club. Players enjoying the air conditioning inside, watching a bit of World Cup, watching a bit of the Travelers Championship. Just a great clubhouse where players can unwind. And I mean, that's half of the fun here. Players love the golf tournament, but they also love the camaraderie, which is aided by a beautiful clubhouse here at Ruffs Golf Club.
And of course, many a country club across the country with a similar setup and have this championship broadcast up on the big screen in front of their bar and dining areas. So it really is a true circle here. Here is Krouse after a disappointing effort from Long off the tee. Krouse, it is a good thing that net was there. He absolutely smoked that thing, and now we'll live to talk about it because the netting tripped it up.
And that's what I was talking about, Bob. It is tough to get the ball in the air on a downslope, get it up over that net, and then carry it onto the screen, as you see. Both Long and Krouse failed to do so there.
Here's Long. He'll have to buoy that net up a little bit by resting it on his shoulder as he prepares for his second. And that caught the net almost immediately after it came off the club top. That'll be another tough shot from a very similar lie.
So here we go. No players on the green on this yet on this back 9, first hole on the 10th hole. Back 9 already showing its teeth early on.
That's going to be a good shot from Krouse. Get one big hop, and it does onto the front of the green. Good luck from Mike Krouse. He will have that for birdie.
Now, a shot like that, so you're already seeing the difference between the back 9 green and the front 9 green. On the front 9 green, running downhill, not as thick grass before the green. That would have released a little bit. But here on the back green, there's a slightly bit of a depression there just in front of the green. And as I said, the grass is a bit thick there. So as you saw, Krouse's ball was able to make it up on the green, but did not release all the way to the hole as it would have on the front green location.
Long punches it through. That's a decent shot. That'll be his par look from just off the green. Bullock will take his second shot. Again, went out in 33, which is 1 under par. 9 under par for the championship. 1 stroke back of Kyle Martin for second place. And remember, he still has his 4th round coming after this. The only guy playing his 3rd round at this point. That ball will release pretty nicely for Zach Bullock. I didn't think he was going to get that type of kick, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you
He'll
what,
have a good look for birdie.
Bullock has been really impressive. Great touch around the greens. his chip shots from about 10 yards off the green have been phenomenal. He is a really solid player around the greens.
Gallagher with his second onto the front of the green, and he'll have a birdie look. A par look for Kevin off the front of the green. Ooh, I think that hit a golf ball that had not been marked. Little Jimmy Walker backstopping, except that golf ball wasn't past the hole. That did not help Kevin. So Kevin will be putting for 5. Bullock will be putting for 3.
Interesting there that Kevin did not ask Bullock to mark the ball if it was in his line. It looked perhaps it was a little bit left of his line, and Long may have just pulled his shot.
I believe we got Krouse with his birdie putt, and Gallagher and Bullock with birdie putts upcoming. Krouse, I think, got that about halfway there, Tom. Not his best. He's got to turn it around quickly as Dan Gallagher continues to fire away at these greens, having by far his best round. And oh, by the way, Tom, he has the opportunity as that putt goes just long.
Well, here
he has the opportunity to card the best round so far this weekend.
Here we're seeing a little bit of a case of tale of two different golfers here, where you have Gallagher on the one hand, who's banks it home. Krouse.
That's big.
That's a save par, I believe, from Mike
Yes,
Krouse.
sir.
Big par save there, banking it home. But Gallagher, who's sort of been there, done that, as you said, has made cuts in the past, been there for Sunday in the afternoon, as Bullock makes a nice putt.
And that gets him back to double digits under par for the championship.
But Gallagher been there, done that. Where this is Krause's first time making the cut. The pressure does seem to be weighing on him a little bit, but he recovered nicely there.
And Gallagher for his par. Gallagher puts it in.
Steady as he goes.
And that's +2 for the championship for Dan Gallagher. For Mike Krouse, his par
Now we go
keeps him at +5.
back to the mat.
And Kevin, I believe, was a double there. Is that correct? We got Kevin with a double bogey there to drop to +7. Going to the par 5 11th, a very interesting hole here, the 11th, as these players will find their way through the trees. You see where they're going. We'll take a look at our hole tracker here as we start from the tee box. And almost immediately, 2 trees directly in your way. Lots of other trees before you get out of the woods, literally and figuratively. And, of course, the shed in front. It will be very difficult for these golfers.
And where you see on the front 9, on this tee box on the second hole, an opening for players to go through, as Bullock there hits wood and bounces back halfway back towards the tee box.
But on that same outer line, Tom, so we're still going to need to go the balance of the way through the trees.
And you will see, but so as I said, there is no direct line or as big of a gap to go through to the back 9 hole location, and the flag is not in. They are playing to a hole without a flag in at the moment.
I think that's one where you just lose your focus a little bit. You know, the moment gets to you.
That has to. One would think that tells you something a bit about where the players' heads are at,
Yes,
and you would hope that their minds were already on to the next shot.
We'll go with
that's
that.
what it says. Yeah, let's go with that. Benefit of the doubt. But I have yet to say, as you saw in that whole flyby, as Amir Tabrizi going to put in the flag stick, setting himself up nicely, getting a head start next year's Sportsmanship Award. Well played by Amir Tabrizi. But you will see more skilled players go through that V, that gap in those 2 trees right in front of you. Let's see what Krouse elects to do.
Krouse, one of those guys that can certainly put it where he wants it from time to time. That's a great shot. Certainly one of his better efforts here for the weekend. Gets it right to the front of the green, and he'll be putting for an albatross. Long now set to tee off from the mat. This par 5, 51 yards. But again, it's those impediments in between that make this so difficult. Big risk reward here, and Long puts it through. That will bounce through the rough onto the short grass just in front of the green, about 5 yards. Well done from Long off the tee. Bullock hits it again and will end up in between these trees, not out of the woods
Adding
yet.
insult to injury. Let's see how the players handle a bit of banter going on from the gallery here.
Yeah, the gallery has had a few more drinks in them at this time of the weekend, and
How few adult beverages have they?
that's a good-looking shot from Zach Bullock onto the front of the green, and
well
he's still
done.
going to have a birdie for
Set himself
opportunity.
up for a very nice birdie attempt.
That's important as Gallagher now set to take his second. One of the more gettable holes, Tom. Very difficult, of course, but one of the more gettable holes on this golf course.
And it's one of those holes where
The only par
I
5.
mean, so I can say for myself personally, the first 2 rounds, I believe I was over par. I'm the only par 5 on the golf course, and I was over par, I believe, each time I played it. First 2 rounds, and then just, if you do get it through the trees, as we see Kevin Long run it past the hole, if you do get it through the trees, it's a whole different ball game. I eagled it in my 3rd round. So,
Well done.
it's just, if getting it through the trees, you are 90% of the way there to a great score on the only par 5 on the golf course.
Dan Gallagher tries to skid it along. That one got caught up in a clump just in front of the green. Does matriculate onto the very first portion of the green, but he now sets himself up with a long birdie putt. So Bullock and Gallagher playing this hole completely differently and now find themselves in the same spot. Krouse with his eagle attempt. Or that was the albatross attempt for Krouse, actually, and he'll have that short one left for eagle. So that is impressive, and how a really great shot on this hole can set you up. Gallagher's putt comes short. He's going to want this hole back, Tom. He was south of the rough, just a couple of yards short of the green, and is ending up with a 5 if he were to knock that one in. This is Kevin Long's eagle putt. On the way, there it goes. It won't go. Went a little bit left at the end, Tom.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at that one there.
Bullock, it stays high. So he doesn't give a shot back, but in some ways it may feel like it to him as he stays at 10 under par for the championship with a 5 here on the par 5, 11th.
Yeah, hate to see that.
Dan Gallagher, he bogeys that hole, drops to +3 for the championship, and Mike Krouse with that eagle putt has an opportunity to match Dan Gallagher in terms of total tally. Kevin Long misses his birdie, and this green will not relent. +7. Now Krouse taps in
Let's see if that can get him going.
for eagle. And he is to +3 for the championship, even with Dan Gallagher. And again, the tournament flight, it will be a 3-hole playoff, and sudden death therein if we cannot break the tie. And now we move to the par 4 12th. This from the same tee box as hole number 3 across the little waist area. And you see the flag there. That's not the one they're playing to. They'll bring it around to the front. We won't be able to see it from this view, but it will be over top of that blue shed with OB behind. So there is certainly risk reward here on the par 4 12th.
Oh yeah, World Poland.
There's the first shot. That's well done from Krouse as he puts himself a little bit north of the green. It'll give him a good look for his what would be eagle, but an opportunity to go up and in for birdie. Bullock sits at 10 under par, equal with Kyle Martin for second overall in the championship. Bullock is going to go over, and actually he went left to the green as well. Had the height to get over if he wanted, but is in front. Alex Chrostowski in the booth now. Alex was a big-time competitor in the sportsmanship flight. Found himself right in the mix until the last round. A really good round from Joe DeFurio put him in front, but he had a great shot this weekend, man. It was fun to watch you play out there.
Thanks, Bob. Came ready to play. Like you said, last round this morning, a little rough. Conditions changed definitely overnight. You can see that.
How so?
It's a lot drier today. Just a lot drier. Ball moves a little bit slower on the green. Quite a breeze, I think, from east to west. So, yeah, just couldn't bring it together. A little disappointed, but again, it's only the sportsmanship flight. What we're really interested in is the people playing right now. So,
and that was a great shot by Dan Gallagher. He sent that one over top of the shed. He's always been a risk taker here at Ruffs, and that one looked like it was heading towards the OB, if not knocked down by a branch, and directly next to the hole, he has a great look at eagle. Now here's Long. He has a good opportunity to go up and in from off the green here. That one going towards the cup. Will it have enough juice? It doesn't quite climb all the way, but has a good look for his birdie. Could get himself to 6 over par for the championship. Krouse hammers one by. That one's going to skid into the hazard. Don't know what type of lie he will get. Bullock, delicate chip, leaves it a little bit short. He will have a mid-range putt for his birdie.
a good idea, Bob, after you look at the previous shot. You don't want it to roll too much into the rough back there.
That's true. It really does take off. So he's electing not to drop. He will have a look.
Can you see him back there, Bob?
I can't see him. It's one of the things about this telecast. It's just tough to get that look. That's a good shot from Krouse.
Right, given the shed back there as well.
Yes, indeed. But a good look there, and he finds himself with an opportunity for his par. Here's Gallagher, set up by a wonderful shot, directly over top of the shed, knocked down by a branch.
This is for eagle right here?
This is for a 5-foot eagle. And it goes down. Dan Gallagher to 1 over par for the championship with that eagle putt on the par 4 12th.
And the home crowd loved that one, Bob.
Yes, they did. Bullock can't get it to go. He will tap in for his par. And he remains at 10 under par for the championship. Once again, tied with Kyle. He's 6 holes behind Kyle at this point.
So on a par 3, birdie is not possible, is it, Bob?
What does that mean?
On a par 3, can you get a birdie?
Sure you can. That would be a 2.
That's a 2? And then there's no eagle.
The eagle, you can get a hole in 1.
That's all right.
And we will move to the par 4 13th, directly behind us here and our broadcast booth.
Seems to be some
And the players getting a nice scope of hole number 14, and they're going to do that after 13. But 13, a really nice hole. 44 yards from tee to green.
How many?
44 yards. Get some cold cuts.
Excellent.
Here's Gallagher sitting at 1 over par for the championship and 5 under par on this round. Heading to the left flag stick. That one a high hanger. Will stay out of the rough. Not a bad shot there from Gallagher.
A little short, but we'll see what he can do. It's a par 4, right, Bob?
Par 4. Here's the long chip. This one's going to be real good if it releases. Onto the green it goes, and he'll have about a 7-footer from just left of the green, pin high. Very well done from Long. Bullock, this one's going to be really good too. And has that spin, it'll be just shy of the front of the green.
The match is Kevin Long 1 for 1 with the shot.
And here's Mike Krouse. He sits at 4 over par for the championship. Right in the mix here as that one goes right and goes hard. And that one, well, I think he's going to have a shot there. It's not going to be a bad one, Alex. There is a back alleyway behind that shed, and he might have a decent look at the pin.
This is true. Nobody uses that back alleyway more than the guys in the sportsmanship flight, Bob. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know what to say. I can't argue with that.
It's there, let me tell you.
Whew, I think I lost my train of thought there.
I think we're on hole 13, Bob.
Gallagher speeds one by. He'll have a comebacker for his birdie. And I think the gallery that's on a little bit of a time delay just heard your comment there, Alex. I'm not a guessing man,
But you're guessing, so.
I'm guessing. Bullock's second shot blows it by. He'll have a 6-foot comebacker, certainly an opportunity there. And Krouse sends one through the sportsmanship back alley.
I like the name. I like the name now.
It's yours. Trademark it. Here's Gallagher's birdie putt. That one bounding through and will be a little bit long. He'll have a comebacker for what will be his par. Bullock a birdie attempt. This is a big one for Zach Bullock. See if he can knock it down, and he can't. He'll be putting for par to remain at 10 under for the championship.
So we got a whole mix of folks in this round, Bob.
We do.
Championship players, tournament flight players. Interesting.
Yes, very much so. 3 guys on their 4th round, 1 on his 3rd, as Krouse cannot put in what would have been a spectacular birdie, but does a nice job to remain at 4 over par and very much in this, putting a little bit of pressure on Danny. Does not have a long putt here, certainly, but Gallagher looking to match Krouse, who's trying to climb his way back into the tournament flight competition. Here's Long's eagle attempt. That one left short and has a relatively short birdie putt here, but not a gimme. And he drills it. Kevin Long up to 5 over par for the championship. Gallagher for his part to remain at 1 over for the championship, and he gets it to roll home on its final rotation. And now to the par for 14th they go, Alex.
Yes, they do.
This one, the one that takes you all the way behind the house next door, and we'll take a look at that right now.
All the way behind the shingles, Bob.
Behind the shingles, indeed. A 56-yard par 4, the 7th rated course from a handicap perspective on the golf course. And there is an opening there. You can find your way through it. But, of course, OB is to the left and deep, so something that the players need to be aware of.
Sure thing, Bob, and I think we're kind of in the splash zone right now. You ask me.
Yeah, you got your hard hat? You nodded your head no, Alex.
I don't. I forgot it.
This is live audio. Nodding heads doesn't necessarily come through so well.
Understood. I had to think of an answer.
It'll be Bullock to tee off first. Good look for Bullock.
How about that,
Has some
Bob?
steam. Got to slow down. Will go into the hazard, but he may have a decent look out of there.
And there's that extra bit of roll we see on the ball, Bob. What we mentioned earlier, the changing conditions today. A lot more dry.
It'll be Dan Gallagher next to play.
You know, Bob, if you ask me, compared to the other 2 holes in the woods, this one has a pretty clear straight shot path to the flag on
This
the back
one is.
9.
That one didn't go from Dan Gallagher. It got a little bit high. You're saying that this one is straighter and more open. Right?
More open, a lot more open, that's right.
For sure. A little bit more distance. You got to control that, of course, but
You can keep it low.
this will be Mike Krouse to play next. That one, a good-looking shot, and it will check up, but it'll head to the wrong side of the shed. That one won't kill him, but he won't have a look at the flag, Alex.
No, he kept it low, just not the distance we were looking for.
And finally, Kevin Long to play, sitting at 5 over par for the championship. He came in at 7 over par, 2 under so far today on this final round. That one, a screamer. It's got to sit. That one continues on, and it will also go into the hazard, but not far.
The power, the distance, and the roll is going to get him on this one, Bob.
Yes, indeed. So we have 2 guys in, but should not be far. Could have opportunities to play it out, depending upon the lie.
Play how it lies, Bob. That's what we do here at Ruffs. We play how it lies.
Gallagher to play first. Wow, that one hit 2 trees and did advance forward. You don't see that every day.
Something came disconnected. Your audio's a little off.
This is the 2018 Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. This is the penultimate group. The tournament flight very much in play here, as Dan Gallagher currently holds a 3-stroke advantage over Mike Krouse on the 14th hole. Gallagher
so we're playing
taking
for the
his
tournament flight right now, Bob.
Yes, sir.
How about that? This hole means a lot if Dan can't get this show on the road.
Yeah, it's an opportunity here. This will be Gallagher's 4th upcoming. Krouse taking his 2nd. Good, prudent play from Krouse. Even gets it to trickle towards the hole a little bit at the end.
Conservative play, Bob, and sometimes at Ruffs it benefits the conservative players.
Now Long and Bullock trying to find their golf balls back there. They do have to identify them. And it appears that both of them have, and Bullock's going to try to play this one out. Not until.
You just put the rope down. Are you allowed to do that, Bob?
You are. You're allowed to remove stakes.
Okay.
Now Gallagher runs it up towards the hole. He'll have that left from about 5.5 feet away for his bogey. Bullock decides to get some better footing, and he'll go after this again. This is his second from out of the hazard. Great look from Bullock. He'll run it by, and we'll give him a birdie look. Really nice job from Zach Bullock. And now Kevin Long. We mentioned this when they went in. They went in, but not hard, Alex. And this is something where we thought they might have a look. It's a little bit of an opening in that area.
And is the green slanted down a little bit, Bob?
Little
Are you going
bit.
uphill right now? Is that what I'm seeing?
You're seeing a great shot from Kevin Long.
Hey.
Almost went down. You're a little bit, the ground is a little bit higher than the hazard area. The hazard area definitely tears off a little bit towards the water. Bullock's birdie putt leaves it just short. He will tap in for a par. And he once again stays at 10 under par for the championship. He is 5 holes into the back 9. Krouse's eagle putt won't go. It lips out.
All the hard work done earlier.
And Krouse birdies. He's at +3. Kevin Long for his 3. That won't go. And he pars the hole. Now this important here, Alex. Dan Gallagher for his bogey. He started the hole 1 over par. This will drop him to at least 2. Another would even him up with Mike Krouse, and that stays
my
up.
Goodness. So we are all tied right now for the
We are
tournament flight.
all tied in the tournament flight with 4 holes to go.
Man.
Dan Gallagher at +3. Mike Krouse at +3.
Are they aware?
They should be at least causally aware. We'll say not casually aware, causally aware. However, I don't know that they know it down to the number. We'll go to hole number 15 now. This is an interesting one. Again, another off the side hill lie. This time going to the left green. You see hitting right over top of the rough there. Danger long.
It's a tough one on the slant there, Bob.
It is. It's one that'll naturally go more left, and of course, if you go way too far left, you find yourself in the in the danger zone from an OB perspective. But an opportunity to get it close. And now you see the folks enjoying the action on the deck above.
And the
As
horseman
Bullock.
spectators.
Good look from Zach Bullock. He'll be right in that area in front of the green.
Excellent. Swung it left like you said there, Bob.
A little bit. Now Krouse.
Do we have any lefties on the field today, Bob?
We have Kevin Boswick standing behind the camera. He played 3 rounds in 19 over par total.
Tell me how you approach this hole as a lefty versus a righty.
Boy, I tell you what, he believes that this hole is simply and unequivocally unfair to the left-handed hitters.
Exactly.
Krouse, 3 hops and into the hazard. We'll just have to see. There is an opening back there. It went in to the right of the pin over the green.
They've been finding most of the balls back there today, Bob.
They have. I've been impressed by that, and not only finding them, but have an ability to play them from where they lie. Now Gallagher has an opportunity here, all square, at +3 for the championship. He and Krouse duking it out for the tournament flight championship. Gallagher pops one up. That's going to need a kick, and it gets one right on the front of the green. Good
How
shot from
about
Dan
that?
Gallagher, about 8.5 feet away.
Could not have asked for a better shot there, Dan Gallagher.
Now Long, the 4th to play, sitting at +5 for the championship. Now we keep talking about Krouse and Gallagher. Long was flighted in the championship flight, so not necessarily a championship to play for here today, but an overall finish where he could certainly come back and take over Gallagher and Krouse's spots. That's a good shot. It'll be to the right-hand side of the green. Goes a little bit long, but should not be in the hazard. It looks like it was losing some pace, Alex, as it scooted past the pin.
That's shocker, because normally it picks up pace once it hits the ground. But, I mean, Kevin Long, is he 4th place now in the championship, 5th place? What's the live standings
In
there,
the
Bob?
championship flight, he is in 4th place in the championship flight by virtue of his ability to make the cut here. He just eked out Tom Trainer, who went 3 rounds in a combined 8 over par.
Wow.
Kevin Long got to this flight with +7.
+7, and they could move up depending on how the second round today goes.
It's true, but it's kind of like the cut in the PGA Tour. If
Okay.
you're not going to get penalized for an additional round that you play. So Kevin Long is already guaranteed 4th in the championship flight. And all 4 of them back there looking for
The ball.
the golf balls. The golf balls of both Krouse and Long, trying to identify them so that at the very least you can take it as a hazard lie and move it laterally.
And they are taking a while back there. Can't really see what's going on, and that's unfortunate, but we can assume that they're having a little bit of difficulty finding and identifying the golf balls.
I think that's a safe assumption. I highly doubt they're back there cracking open a beer saying, man, it's really a good idea and glad that we found this so quickly. So I appreciate that assumption.
Hey, here comes a shot. Unexpected, Bob. Who was that?
Are you kidding me? How am I supposed to know? Kevin or Mike?
Narrows it down, but still.
That was Kevin.
Excellent.
He
And here
comes
comes
out of
Mike.
the
Oh,
abyss.
my goodness. Look at that shot.
Great shot from Mike Krouse. That was from deep. Don't know if it was a drop or not. Here's Kevin running it up to the hole a little bit short. He'll have that left for his par. Bullock with a birdie attempt from 12 feet away. Big one for Bullock. He's parred every hole on the back. That one won't go. He wanted that one to drop. He saw 11 under on the board and saw it snatched away
We all did
by the
that.
unforgiving hole.
It would have given him a clear advantage in the champion. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It would have tied him up with you, Bob, in the championship flight.
Not quite. He's at 10 under par right now.
So he needs to get to 11 under
He needs
par.
to get to 19 under par.
You have 19? Is that what the board says?
I am glad that I could get your unbridled and live reaction to that, Alex. Yes, indeed.
How about that, Bob? Congrats.
Long way to go, man. Gallagher could not finish that one. That would have been for eagle. That one tapped in, though, for birdie and gets him to +2 for the championship. He is +4 on, or a 4 under par on the day. He came in at +6. And I'm going to get the Kevin Long score and the Michael Krouse score as we now look live at the leaderboard. That is the championship flight. Bob Long at 19 under, Kyle Martin at 10 under, Zach Bullock finishing his 3rd round, currently at 2 under par for the round, 10 under for the championship.
And we're looking to get a score update here. It's hard to multitask, and certainly even harder to commentate as you're keeping track of the scores in a golf tournament.
Well, that is certainly an example of multitasking. So, you know, multitasking is certainly a general term that can be used to describe many things. But
Excellent. So back to the woods here, Bob. And here we go. Dan looking for a shot. Practicing.
Gallagher doesn't get a lot of it, but it will do the job. It's escape the woods.
Not going to help him with the standings, though, there.
Hey, the only thing he's got his eyes on is a tournament flight championship. And by our count, Alex, we have him 1 stroke ahead of Mike Krouse.
It's coming down to the wire then, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Mike Krouse making up some room on the back 9, however. He finds himself 2 under par on the back. Dan Gallagher.
So he's a strong
Even
finisher.
par. Hey,
Mike
that's
Krouse.
that's the idea. He's trying to finish strong here and take back that lead. Bullock,
Excellent
great shot. Really nice shot from Zach Bullock. It will escape the rough. That'll be really nice. A little bit shy of the green. He'll find himself with an opportunity to go up and in to get 1 stroke ahead of Kyle. as they head towards the final stretch here in the third round.
And so after this one, we got 2 more holes, Bob.
Yes, sir. This the toughest hole.
This one, you think so?
I think it's one of them. It's rated number 3 on the handicap, so technically they have 11 as the top hole from a handicap perspective. Kevin's shot will bound into the rough about 15 yards shy of the green.
And what makes it so hard? The trees?
Yeah, trees are very difficult. Really no direct line to the pin. Danger long in the form of hazard and OB.
Mm-hmm.
Now Krouse trying to decide where he wants to go. And he's contemplating a very foolish decision, if I may be so bold to read his mind. He's thinking about whether he's going to go right and feed it off those bricks behind the right-hand side green.
Is that what he's going for? How about that? I haven't seen that yet today, Bob. And he does go for it. Off the shed into the hazard, Bob.
I hate to say that I told you so.
You told us so, and that was terrible.
Man, wow, Alex, I tell you what, you got to at least piddle around it a little bit. You can't just say that. So now Krouse is also going to have trouble finding that, I think. That ball was screaming into the woods. Remember, he has to identify this golf ball to ensure that it did not go into the back creek, which would be OB.
And then he's got to hit it.
Well, he can pull it out if he at least identifies it. But identifying it would allow him to drop it there instead of going back to the tee box.
For a
Gallagher,
one-stroke penalty.
Gotta sit. That hits hard and runs into the hazard. So both Gallagher and Krouse in trouble.
It looks like Gallagher has the clear advantage, though, here, Bob. His ball did not roll that far into the hazard from where we could see.
That's right. Here's Long's chip. That checked up a little bit. Would have been a very good spot for a birdie opportunity.
Right.
Got some Kevin Long fans up there in the gallery.
Yeah.
And Mike Krouse has identified his golf ball.
Has he?
He's identified his golf ball in the hazard. Zach Bullock, good shot there. He has a birdie 3 opportunity.
And he's using, what do we call this now, Bob? The sportsmanship alley?
That's right. The sportsmanship back alley for Krouse. That one's hot, runs by the pin to the back side of the green. That'll be pin high.
But it worked for him.
About 8 feet away.
He used the alley. Interesting technique. How's Dan doing back there? Does he find his ball?
Looks like Dan's found his ball, and he's going to try to play it. This is a big moment here for Dan Gallagher and Mike Krouse, just 3 holes away from deciding this. By our count, Dan Gallagher a 1-stroke lead. This is 3rd on the par 4 16th.
Oh, does that count?
He swung at it. Indeed, it should count.
Man, look at that.
Now he's got a decision to make. Can he play that ball? Did he put it into a worse spot?
Mm-hmm. For example, hitting it further into the ground.
That's
or knocking
right.
it under a branch. Well, first he's got to identify the ball.
I think he's going to identify it.
Should be no problem.
Oh, this is classic stuff here.
It's the roughs, Bob.
That one's out. But that one, for Dan Gallagher, certainly got himself into trouble there. Here's Krouse with the putt. Krouse taps in. So he dropped 3, shot 4. And then 5, 6. So a double bogey for Mike Krouse takes him to 5 over par. Here's Long for his eagle. It won't go. Or I'm sorry, that was actually a birdie putt there on
So
the
now
par
he's
4.
shooting for par right now. 4th shot, right?
And he puts that one home for his par.
Well done, Kevin.
5 over par, and by our count now even with Mike Krouse on the championship. Here is Gallagher.
Shooting for what now, Bob?
It's a big number. I'm not sure. We're going to have to get clarification here
Right, from the players.
from the players. Now Bullock. Here's an opportunity for his birdie. That one won't go. He just can't seem to get on the board here on the back nine. Remains at 10 under par for the championship.
Hardest
And on to
hole
the
on the
17th.
course. Sorry, Bob.
That's quite all right. It's a very difficult hole. We'll go to the 17th.
We're going to get the score update, it looks like. Bob's going out to just to confirm that our score matches what the players have on their card. Again, multitasking. On that hole, Bob, I just need to confirm Dan shot a 6. That's correct? Dan Gallagher.
That is correct. So what we have here in our broadcast booth is for the championship through 70 holes.
Beautiful placement. Took a little knock off the top of the shed, but nonetheless, could you ask for something better there, Bob?
I think Zach would ask for something better there. If that one didn't hit that backside, it would have run up on it. But still a very, very good shot. He's got a comebacker. So Zach Bullock at 10 under par through for him.
Does he
52
know it hit
holes.
the shed? Does he know it hit the shed?
I think so. But, Alex, we're going to get an update here on the tournament flight. Right now we have Dan Gallagher through 70 holes at +4. Mike Krouse through 70 holes at +5. Gallagher came into this round at +6 and Mike Krouse at +2. So Gallagher has given a few strokes back here on the back nine.
So who's winning?
He's 2 under par, and Dan Gallagher leads Mike Krouse by 1 stroke.
My goodness.
Krouse is going to go high with it.
Long and high.
And that stays inbounds and on the backside of the green. What will Dan Gallagher do? He's gone over every single time on this hole this week. However, with a championship on the line, do the nerves change at all?
A little bit, I think they do. I'm not Dan, so I can't tell you what he's thinking, but I might fancy myself the sportsmanship alleyway, back alley.
Ooh, you're thinking about going the back way.
Yep. And he goes over.
And it comes back. Are you kidding me? What a hole. The 71st hole of this golf tournament with a 1-stroke lead, and he decides now to take a chance. Listen, Alex, you go with what's gotten you here, certainly. But that's one that maybe you question a touch.
It's risky up there, Bob. He could have had a guaranteed 3. Guaranteed 3.
Now he's going to go around. He maybe gave a half-second thought.
Oh, he hits that one a little hard there,
Blows
Bob,
that
doesn't
one
he?
through. I think he might have wanted to be out of that little depressed area that Tom was talking about earlier.
Right.
And now has an opportunity to fly that area, bounce it on the front part of the green, and then bring it in. Here's Long for his second. Long's second. We'll give him a good look at par. And remember, Long's in this as well. He's at +5, even with Mike Krouse coming into this. And one ahead of Dan Gallagher. Now shooting his 4th.
But Kevin
and
Long's
puts a
playing in
little short.
the championship flight, though,
Correct.
Bob,
So
isn't
there's
he?
a total standings in which Kevin is looking to get into the top 4.
So we combine the scores. All right. Or, I mean, combine the flights.
For an overall
Excellent.
standings, yes, indeed. And Krouse will give himself a tough look at par. Left that one a little bit short. Here is Bullock for his birdie. Rolling along, and that one blown by. That's not going to be easy coming back for par, Alex.
No, sir.
And now a shade starting to form on that green as we move from the early afternoon to the later stages of this afternoon on Sunday.
Yes. It's a nice Sunday, though, Bob, today.
Tremendous. Gallagher drops it in. So I have Dan Gallagher at a triple bogey 6.
My goodness. Not what he wanted today.
Krouse, an enormous
Wow.
putt. That is his par. He is at +5 and takes a 2-shot lead on Dan Gallagher. Boy, you just have to think that he will think back to that decision to go long, go over the shed on the 17th hole.
You know, Bob, I agree with you there, but you know what's next. You know what hole is next. The batting cage hole. It's tough. It's mean.
Long will bogey this hole as well.
Some heckling coming from the cameraman, Bob.
Indeed.
And Bob, again, going to get a score update. We're coming to the 18th hole of our round here at the Roughs. The penultimate round, as Bob likes to call it.
I do like to call it that, don't I? You've noticed that.
I have.
This is the penultimate round, and a reminder that in about 15 minutes we'll be back live on BLS after the conclusion of this round for the beginning of the championship and the final round of the golf tournament as Bob Long, Kyle Martin, and Zach Bullock
All tee off together.
will tee off together.
A group of 3.
But, of course, we have 4th, 5th, and 6th on the line, as well as the tournament flight in play here. Bullock finishing his 3rd round, everyone else on their 4th. Mike Krouse sitting in 4th place all alone at +5 for the championship. Kevin Long is all alone in 5th at +6. And Dan Gallagher 2 strokes back of Mike Krouse in 7th place and sits 2nd in the tournament flight. One of the biggest shots of Mike Krause's professional career goes right into the side of the net and opens the door for Dan Gallagher.
All Dan's got to do is play a good hole here, Bob. He's looking a little nervous. He's warming up, taking deep breaths, and you just feel for Mike Krouse, Bob.
I tell you what, this is good stuff. This is good stuff right here. The Travelers Championship wishes that it had this type of intrigue coming down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Long, a great play.
Is that in the rough there, Bob?
That one got through the rough
Through the rough.
into the area just in front of the green.
Wow.
Now Gallagher, here it is. Tournament flight on the line.
And Bob, let me ask you something. If you're Gallagher right now, where do you go?
I'm taking as highly lofted a club as I have. If he's got a 60, I'm taking a 60-degree wedge, and I'm feeding this high over top of the batting cage. I'm trying to land it as close to the front of that green as I can.
And you're going straight up.
Straight up. This really is tremendous.
A lot on the line here, Bob. A lot on the line here.
And you see Gallagher taking his time, really trying to prop that up. I think the reason why, Alex, is he's doing exactly what we talked about.
So he wants
Taking
to get under
a
it.
highly lofted club, getting filling the grooves right underneath that golf ball and just lifting it over top of this net. That's what he does.
Wow.
That will carry and will be just in front of the green, about 7 yards away from the front of the putting surface. We have Dan Gallagher as 2 strokes trailing Mike Krouse coming into this hole. A reminder that for the tournament flight, there's hardware on the line for the championship flight, for the tournament flight, and for the sportsmanship flight. And
Is this an injury here, Bob?
it is. Behind the play, we're going to take you up to Zach Bullock as he puts one up towards the green. He'll have that for his birdie to go to 11 under par for the championship and to take a 1-stroke lead on Kyle. As we look back at Mike Krouse, who cut his finger on that last hole, on that last shot.
How do you do that, Bob?
I have no idea. We're going to get some intel from these guys after the round.
Are we doing post-round interviews, Bob?
You know, we're just going to have to see what time allows here. Of course, there might be a playoff at hand, too.
It looks like there's plenty of sunshine for the... Oh, my goodness.
He can't get it out of the batting cage. Now, that's one you have to question.
Yeah. Why go up like that?
Why chip the ball in the air? You have the opportunity to just kind of blow it through.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one he might look back on. But, of course, so much still at hand. He's going to prop up that net against the back.
Mm-hmm.
And Krouse has a very nice short game. He has an opportunity to drop it on the green.
Propped right up there. Beautiful shot. Nice
That
chip.
is really good. It checks up a little bit, but we'll give him a nice opportunity for his par
And a good lie.
and really forces Dan Gallagher's hand a little bit. Gallagher, a 2-stroke deficit, again, by our count.
Unofficial.
Unofficial. By our count, a 2-stroke deficit. Here's Gallagher second. He lies 7 yards short of the green. Gallagher, it's going to release a little bit, but not quite enough. He will be right on the front part of the putting surface, and I think he'll see that putt as a must-make.
I think so too, Bob, if he wants to stay in this and stay competitive. If he wants to win, that is.
Here's Long with his second. That one comes right up to the
beautiful.
pin and runs by it on the left-hand side. A good shot from Long. He has an opportunity to birdie this hole. And, of course, the overall fourth-place standing is in play as well. A big, big money putt coming up for both of these guys, as, of course, the payouts are taken care of from a total perspective, not the flight perspective. That's for the hardware. The total standings are for the money.
Right. And all of
So
it.
this is an expensive putt. Long will go first.
Kevin Long.
Oh, we might have a rulings issue. No.
What was the question there, Bob?
We have a question as to which ball is Mike's. And I think we've gotten it now. The good thing is there's a slight delay on the feed. There's no way to rewind it. That was the question from Bullock. But the good news is there's almost a natural rewind just by the nature that you have about a 25-second differential. I want to thank Amir Tabrizi. We did have a viewer call in here.
Phone a friend here, Bob.
Phone a friend here at the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. Again, you see everything here, including viewers calling in.
We
to the
try things
RGA.
new. Try things old.
Bullock can't get it to go, and it's another par. That's 9 pars on the back 9 to remain at 10 under par going into the final round.
That's 9 in a row.
9 pars on the back 9. And Zach Bullock is through 54 holes by our count at 10 under par. Here is Long for his birdie. And it comes up just short.
You got to question the groundskeeping.
We're not going there now, Alex. That's a +6 for the championship for Kevin Long. Here's Dan Gallagher. This a huge putt. Gallagher shooting his third. Krouse shooting his fourth.
A must make, like you said, Bob. A must make.
He trails by 2 to put a little bit of pressure on Mike Krouse. And he blew the putt by. I think he knew it needed to go.
Is
And
he
wasn't
blaming
going
the
to
shoes?
lose it. Was not going to leave it short. I don't think he's blaming the shoes. Here's Krouse for the Tournament Flight Championship. It won't go.
And they both miss.
Now Krouse for a tap in. And he taps in for 5. So we have him at +6 for the championship.
And what's Dan at?
Right
live
now that's
score?
T4 with Kevin on the overall. Right now we have Dan Gallagher going for par, which by our count would make this putt moot. But again, we're going to double check with these guys to see what they have. Right now we have Gallagher at +7 for the championship. And that putt
And he misses.
goes.
It's in. Was that in, Bob?
It's in. And the way those guys are celebrating, I think we got ourselves a tie in a 3-hole playoff upcoming here at the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. Again, unofficial. We're going to score this.
Unofficial,
we
please.
we had Gallagher at 2 behind going into that one.
The
Perhaps
last
it was
hole.
a 6 for Mike.
See, and you say hole 13 or whatever is the hardest? No. I think it's hole 18.
So now, is that a tie?
What happened at the tie earlier in the day, Bob? We got to run through the math.
Yeah,
Run the numbers
we had a
one
3-hole
more time.
playoff. If indeed there is a tie,
Can you
there's
explain
going
to
to
the
be
viewers
a 3-hole playoff.
the playoff
And then a
holes?
sudden death. But I just want to make sure here with these competitors, the way the reaction, it was clear as day. they had a different score. They had a tie for top in the sportsmanship.
Tournament.
Yeah, tie for the top of the tournament. Dan Gallagher, Mike Krouse. They're going to do a 3-hole playoff. And then sudden death after that.
3-hole playoff first, and if it's still tied after
So now we're going to bring in Kevin Long, if he can give us a few minutes here to explain to us what he saw there at the end and what's happening now. Kevin, great round out there. Congratulations on a T4. No matter what happens here, right? We got you at T4 with those guys, or were you one stroke back?
I think I was one stroke ahead, but that's just mental math. I'll have to check.
We're going to double check that. Importantly here, for Dan Gallagher and Mike Krouse, I mean, Gallagher hits a money putt. I mean, that's an expensive putt to make right now, and he has an opportunity to convert. So they're going to a 3-hole playoff. Is that right, Kevin Long?
That is correct, Bob. So we had these holes predetermined. We decided to go with 1. So we're starting at the first tee box, going to the right side. 11, which is the second tee box from the mat over in the woods, going to the left side of the hole. And 6, going from the hill, so over to the right green. So it's a challenging test, not an unfair test, but we think that brings in all the elements that Roughs has to offer here.
That sounds great. This is going to delay the beginning of the next round, Bob.
That's right. It will. So now we will bring you into our broadcast booth. Bob Long, Alex Chrostowski, a tremendous round of golf. Hope you were there for that entire round and spent that time with us. Truly unbelievable. Big thanks to Kevin Boswick, who's going to take a turn off the camera. It was quite hot, so he did a tremendous job, and we appreciate that.
Excellent
now
job.
Tom Trainer nearly knocking the camera off its moorings as he comes into the mix.
Right, you do got to
But
watch
Alex,
out for the cords. Yes.
What did you see there? I mean, that was truly unbelievable. In fact, on our side, we were unsure. We kept saying unofficially. We had Dan Gallagher one stroke back of Mike Krouse, even when that 18th hole ended. But again, they're reacting. They know they had the official score. And Dan Gallagher, a money putt, sends him to the 3-hole playoff.
An absolute money putt, and it always comes down to the why you're here, Bob, at Roughs, doesn't it? We had almost what could have seemed like a clear winner going into the 18th hole, and just the batting cage did not work out. Not at all.
It did not. So they're going to go with hole number 1, hole number 11, then hole number 6 for this 3-hole playoff. It will be just Krouse and Gallagher, and we'll be here with you for the extent of it. They make their way to the first tee, which once again is a 41-yard par 4, finding their way from a downhill lie over a portion of the batting cage, over the rough, and then having to stop the ball short of the hazard with the green on the right-hand side. Let's take you there now. And we're now ready for the 3-hole playoff, the first of its kind here at the Roughs Annual Golf Classic for the Sportsmanship, or I should say Tournament, Flight Championship. Again, disrespecting my boy Joe DeFurio by calling it the Sportsmanship Flight. He earned that fair and square earlier today.
Right.
Won by 2 strokes over Olivia Ost. Now, we also thought that we were going to have a 3-hole playoff there as well. There was a slight miscalculation in the numbers, and in fact, it was DeFurio by 2.
And that's when you determine the holes, right, Bob, for the
that is
for the playoff. During the little miss, I'll let that one go. The back alley flight.
Here's Gallagher, his first shot. That'll land short of the green, bouncing to the right, and will end up about 4 yards short of the front of the punting surface. Pretty good.
I can't even see that, Bob. It looks like it's sunk down a little bit into the grass.
That's true. You just never know what type of lie you're going to get. Now here's Krouse. Puts that weight on the front foot. That's a liner. That's going to be really good as it bounds through and will be a little bit deep from the pin, but on the back side of the green. The first hole of the 3-hole playoff before Gallagher and Krouse here, and they are
Neck and neck, it looks like right here, Bob.
I don't know if there's any other way to say it. They are even.
Neck and neck, slow walk to the balls. What a beautiful day at Ruffs today, Bob.
It truly is. Now we have Kevin Long walking as a scorekeeper.
Excellent. And a caddy, it looks like.
Yes, indeed. Here is Gallagher for his second. First hole of the 3-hole playoff. That one's blown through. That one runs. That one is into the hazard, certainly findable. But there's some propped up leafy ground back there, Alex. The ball's going to pop out of there, but you really cannot get under the ball.
I don't know if you could see this on the camera, but there's a slope, a downward slope to the water there, Bob. And that ball just rolled over the edge and went straight down, it looks like.
In the meantime, Krouse, a great shot, puts him right next to the hole. Now Gallagher, it's really important from this leafy ground. It's going to be popped up. It's going to fly out of this line, but you can't get under it. You got to hit the ball solid or else it won't go anywhere.
And he's been back there before. Oh,
What did I say? Ball is going to fly. He
can't
catches
get over it
flush.
or under it, that is.
So now Krouse taps in his birdie, a birdie 3 on the first of 3 playoff holes.
Puts him right now, what, 1 above Dan, assuming he makes his putt?
Dan Gallagher is lying 4. And deep.
And deep.
Needs to go up and in from here.
Needs up and in. We'll see if he can do that. Lining up the shot. Practicing the shot. Shooting.
That one will roll. Keep churning. It doesn't quite climb all the way. He'll have that for his 5.
Unfortunate start here. You were hoping for a very close round, and it seems like Dan Gallagher just couldn't hold his own on this first hole, Bob. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I tell you, it really all came down to that second shot where he put it into the hazard.
I'm not saying the game's over, but
this is an important putt. Okay, there he is. He gets his 5. He's down 2 and a fist pump from Dan Gallagher as they head to the 11th. They will come from the matted hole across the trees to the far pin with OB lurking long. Let's take a look here at this 11th hole.
Bob, while we're looking at the 11th hole, why the mat?
The mat is there because that is a very, very precarious portion of ground. There's very light, fluffy grass there. And with the type of shot you need to hit from here, you need to get under it. You need to really fly that ball and keep it low. A lot of times that'll evoke very, very large divots. So for the sanctity and for the uncompromising nature of the grass, we are electing to put a mat here.
And it's been there for a couple of years now, hasn't it, Bob?
It has.
No clear shot in this hole.
No real way to get to the pin. You can find a way left of the pin pretty easily, but that also can bring OB into the equation if you hit it long.
Or the roughs if you hit it short there, Bob.
No doubt about it. Discussion about something over there between the two competitors.
Maybe about where to shoot it? Or could this be a mental game?
Here's Krouse. Goes low with
Off
it.
the tree. Oh, my goodness. Right
And that
back
comes
at him.
back. He is at least going to get a lie. Boy, I thought he was going to be right in front of that tree with no look whatsoever. Here's Gallagher. The door opened from that enormous bogey putt on the first hole, and then Krouse's mistake here off the tee on 11.
Can you call that a mistake, Bob?
Yeah, it's true. It's very difficult to get it through, but the door opened nonetheless. Gallagher,
Beautiful.
straight through. That one will
And what I
eke
say,
into the rough, but it looks like a decent lie. I can see it from here.
he had some difficulty hitting the ball out of the hazard last hole. Let's see if he can turn that around and play better in the rough. What do you say, Bob?
Let's do it. That's a good shot from Krouse. That one will roll on down, and he will have a look at the pin. Dan Gallagher lying 1, Mike Krouse lying 2. Dan Gallagher trailing by 2 strokes in the second of 3 playoff holes.
And a slow walk to the balls again, eyeing up the shots.
Here's Gallagher. He'll take his shot first. This coming from the deep rough.
And if you're Dan, you put it in front of the hole and let it roll in, or you try to pop it up. And
Yeah, I think you're trying to land it on the very front portion of that green, but that came out hot, and that's into the hazard, and that may be trouble for Gallagher again.
And he seems to love the hazards today, Bob, doesn't he?
He's certainly found accommodations in the hazard more than he'd like. Krouse hits his 3rd short of the green. Neither player in a good spot here.
No, not really.
Alex, I think you have a fan club because you have the wonderful patrons here of Roughs not only watching play, but listening on a 25-second delay up there.
Right.
And
Coming
listening to the wonderful words of Alex Chrostowski.
And, of course, Bob Long.
Yeah, I think they're deriving a lot of enjoyment out of your commentary, if
Right.
I am completely honest with you.
Hope so. Here we go. Dan in the hazard.
He's going to play it out.
He's
He
going to hit
struggled. He struggled to get this out last time. He couldn't do it. This time he does, and it's rolling up, doesn't climb all the way. But we'll give him a decent look from the back of the green.
it. And that's what makes this course so hard, Bob. You don't know how much power to put behind your shots.
Boy, and I think that's one right there where Mike Krouse was feeling it. He was feeling it on that shot, and unfortunately may have let a nervy little chip get to him.
It's a mental game at this point, Bob.
So now Mike, lying 4. This is 5th. Runs it right up to the hole. That's a pretty good shot. He has that for double. Or I'm sorry, my apologies. This is a par 5, so that for bogey.
That's a par 5?
Par 5. Again, in this situation, par irrelevant. Here is Krouse for his 6, and he drills it.
So a bogey. 1 over.
A bogey. Gallagher
That's something
shooting
on
his
hands,
4th.
Looks like.
This
Shooting
is
for 4th.
This is to even things up here
putt
in the
right
second
here.
playoff hole.
My goodness.
Coming from behind the hole. Will it go down? It won't.
Hate to see it.
Gallagher, though, will get one back. It's a 1-stroke lead for Mike Krouse here in the tournament flight, heading to the 3rd of 3.
Hole number 6. Is that right, Bob?
Hole number 6 is the 3rd and final hole of the 3-hole playoff here to determine the winner of the tournament flight. And we will now take a look at hole number 6, a side hill lie. And of course, Alex, this tournament is decided on this hole. The ball well above your feet as a right-hander.
Right.
You're playing to the right-hand side of the golf course, the right green.
You got to open up the swing a bit.
Yep, you're almost asking yourself to aim at the water and let the natural progression of the uphill lie take you left onto the right-hand side of the green.
Right.
Really, really difficult, and I think wonderful design by Kevin Long to make this the 3rd and final hole of the 3-hole playoff.
Wonderful design. Questionable. Nonetheless, a good hole. Going to 6 on the right, Dan. Shanked it left, it looks like, Bob, right into the rough. Not a good spot, not what he was looking for. Apologize to any viewers if you're having technical difficulties. Are we good, Bob?
We're all set.
Excellent. You had me concerned there for a second.
Here's Krouse.
Right to the rough again. Are they following each other? Is that planned?
I don't think so.
A little bit of discussion between the two players. See what Dan can do. He has to win by 1 here, Bob, to tie it all up, to go into sudden death, right?
That's right.
Good shot.
It's a good shot from Gallagher. It releases and releases very well. That'll be a birdie opportunity here on the 3rd of 3 playoff holes. Krouse looking to answer. That one comes out well. Might need to check up a little bit. Takes a side hop, but will be a makeable putt. That time from the right-hand side of the green.
What do you put that at? 10 feet, Bob? 11 feet?
That's about right.
Another long day here at the Roughs, Bob.
Here's Krouse. That one hit the ridge and won't go down.
So pressure's on Dan here, isn't it, Bob?
It is.
Lots
This
of
a
pressure
must
on
make.
this putt.
This to extend.
Don't want to talk it up.
This to extend the playoff.
The whole weekend comes down to this for Dan. Let's see what he can do. Really pushing the grass down. Is that legal, Bob? Can you do that?
The rules committee will evaluate it later, but I think he'll come
Afterwards.
out clean. Here's Dan. To extend. He got it.
Excellent. So now we got more golf, don't we, Bob?
More golf. So now I think at this point they're going to go back and replay the 3 holes in order until on a sudden death basis until we have a champion. I don't think so. So now they're going to go back to 1. Sudden death until this is over, replaying these 3 holes.
So does that mean if you win the first hole, you win the whole thing?
That's right. Sudden death. That's what it means.
Thank you. What was that, Tom? The fans want the case of death for sudden death. Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something as well, not to detract from this moment.
Okay.
I'm getting a little beat here, standing in the sun calling this, and I also have 18 holes coming up here.
Right. Yeah. That's not an excuse, though, Bob, is it?
No, it's not. No excuse whatsoever.
You want to sit down?
Nope, I'm good. So Gallagher will play first. They are tied, and this is unbelievable
And why is Gallagher playing first?
because he won the last hole.
Okay. Beautiful swing. He didn't hit the ball, though.
It's a practice swing. It's almost as if this is the first hole you're ever broadcasting, Alex.
Wow.
Gallagher didn't get enough. That'll
That's a
sit
bummer of a
right in
shot.
the rough about, really only about, we'll say 12 yards, 15 yards in front of the 6th tee box.
About 30 to the hole there, Bob.
Yeah, probably so. This is a par 4, 41 yards out. Here is Krouse. That's a good-looking shot. That's got to slow up, and it will. That's a great shot from Mike Krouse. He is just off the green.
Goodness.
He'll have that for his eagle, too.
And this could be it, Bob. Get yourself tangled over there.
This is a tremendous, tremendous round plus of golf.
Round plus, and we're feeling it over here in the commentator's booth. Like you said, Bob, a lot of golf to be played yet.
Here is Gallagher.
Swing, practice.
This is a big shot here for Gallagher.
Quiet.
It's got to get a good kick. It might. It hits the side of the shed
Off the shed.
and comes back. So now Gallagher will have his 3rd coming up from just off the front of the green. Krouse has his 2nd from hole high on the right, just off the fringe.
He's on the green, though, right, though?
He's actually just off the green,
Just
in the
off
high
the green.
stuff.
In the high stuff.
Alex, let me say this. Nothing but a pleasure. It has been fun
I
calling
appreciate
this
it,
with you.
Bob.
Got to be honest, I didn't expect it. But you sat down, you took the chair, and you did a great job.
Kind of forced myself into it,
You
didn't
definitely did. You've done a great job. Still plenty of time to blow it, but
Yeah.
you've done a great job.
I'll keep it PG for now. How about that?
Here's Gallagher. An absolutely enormous putt. This is actually going to be pitched off the green, but he'll put it
Is
at
that
the
in?
hole, give it a shot.
Right next to it
So now that's absolutely a must make.
for Dan.
Yes.
And Krouse, if you think about it, if he wants to win.
So now Krouse has taken his second. Dan is lying 3. Krouse, oh man. He did not get that even halfway to the hole. This will be tough. He's putting for 3. He can win the tournament flight with this putt. And it won't go.
So this is a must make for Dan then,
Must
Bob.
make for Dan.
How much distance do we have to the hole? How many feet is that? 3
Hey,
feet?
we got about a 3-footer here. But that's never easy here at Ruffs.
No, not when the conditions of the green, though, Bob. They're good
This is
conditions, by the way.
Unbelievable. Dan has already hit a huge putt with his tournament fate on the line.
Why not do it again?
Why not do it again? Here it is from Gallagher. Eyes up the cup from 3 feet away. He misses it.
And that's
It
it.
lived out. And that is the finish. Mike Krouse is your 2018 Ruffs Annual Golf Classic Tournament Flight Champion. And my, oh my, they're going to be talking about and viewing this
For at least a
championship
year, Bob.
for at least a year until next year's tournament. You're exactly right, Alex. I was going to say something else, but you're probably right. Truly tremendous golf from Mike Krouse and from Dan Gallagher. Congratulations to Mike. His first championship here at Ruffs, and he joins the winner's circle.
Can we get him on the air here, Bob? You think he has time?
Yeah, I think he might have time for 2 minutes. First things first, Dan Gallagher.
How's it going?
Hey, I tell you what, that was a truly, truly tremendous effort there. Really the best drama that this championship has ever seen. What was it like? Take us into the mind of you and Mike being out there on the course dueling it out.
Yeah, Bob, first I want to say thanks to everyone for having us today. Thanks to the Long family. It was a great battle with Mike. Made some big shots, made some huge scrambles at the end there. Kept it in. He struggled in the first 9 of our final round, but he really pulled it together to hang on for the playoff, and he just outplayed me at the end there. He won it.
I tell you what, you have developed a reputation, though, for at the end of these tournaments, at the end of the championship, the last round, you seem to find form. Is there something about Sunday afternoon at Ruffs, whether it's the conditions or your state of mind, that just lends you to be so successful in those types of situations?
Honestly, it's just playing the course 3 times before in 2 days. You get 18 holes in twice a day, so just realizing where all the lies are, how you're hitting out of it, how the greens are rolling especially. That's the toughest part. So it's just familiarity with the course.
Humility. I think while Seamus Morgan isn't here, he'll see that, and he'll tally that your way towards the sportsmanship points for next year. Congrats on a great tournament.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
All right, let's bring in Mike Krouse, your 2018 tournament flight champion, sporting the Ross Bridge Robert Trench Jones Trail golf shirt. Boy, I know you've played a lot of challenging courses. If I can get you to step this way a little bit. Where does this one rank?
Way up there. I've been playing Ruffs for a long time now, and I've been on the cusp a lot. Dan's got me a bunch of times. I was just telling him before we started the round that every year it seems like we'll be even right there in the last, and then the 3rd round there, and then Dan goes and shoots -9 or something crazy. So it's way up there. Probably second before my 82. So.
Okay, wow. And in terms of hardware's tough to come by, right? But you found yourself some hardware here. You're a Ruffs golf champion. How's that sound?
Perfect. Yeah. And now next year it's the championship flight, so I'm coming for you and Kyle there. So.
Well, the bar has been laid. He wants into the championship flight. I think we can arrange that. So enjoy this for 365 days or more. We'll see when this is scheduled next year.
Hopefully, the second part of the course is still here. So we'll see.
All right. Congratulations. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you have it. All right, so we're going to take about a 10-minute break and come back and do the championship round here on the Ruffs Annual Golf Classic. I'll hit the course. We'll have Tom and Kevin helping us out, and we certainly hope you enjoyed this one. This is going to be a lot of fun the rest of the way. Take care.